Well, good evening, my YouTube friends. Good to see you all again. I decided to make another video about the mysterious disappearance of Mr. Michael Trimm. And there is a little more that I have found out, and I may have some more footage that you might be interested in seeing. Meanwhile, somebody left me a link to this letter, the email that Mike supposedly sent out, giving a brief explanation as to what has happened to his disappeared channel. Here we go. This is from Michael Trimm, supposedly from a few days ago, an email sent to somebody named Alain Cornet, Carl Antoine. The videos have not been deleted. They are only private until such a time that it is safe to repost them. I am fine, but at the request of fill in the blank, they have been removed. My comments about Gulen plus Soros plus the Clinton Foundation plus 9/11 were pretty accurate. I guess accurate enough that I was told that I was publicly talking about classified material when I myself should not have had that information. Honestly, the entire channel was simply me reading news postings that I had found on Twitter and Reddit, and then reporting on them with my commentary. Apparently, I was putting the pieces together in a way that could possibly hinder something. I have no idea. I was told that once the case's announcement matures, I could be able to resume the channel. Remember, she had Rich killed because of, insert theory here, and there is evidence that she had the ambassador killed because while her Clinton Foundation server was in Benghazi, he apparently went through it and talked to her about it and was alarmed. He was later killed that night by the terrorists that she herself had created. He knew the truth. The FBI now knows the truth. Remember, Gulen and Soros are only as powerful as they are because of the CIA. We're talking treason at the highest levels in government here. So this was apparently the last anybody has heard from Michael Trimm. And you can make of it what you will. I see a few problems with not really believing the veracity of it for a couple of reasons. One thing is, it's very strange that the entire channel should be removed, all of his videos, because of apparently one offending video that he had supposedly accessed classified information. Well, if it was classified, it hardly would be available on Reddit, would it? I mean, that's not what they do with classified material. The other thing that bothers me is, why couldn't Mike have just put out a short little video to explain to his subscribers what was going on? But that never happened. Why would the entire channel be suspended? This is a question that has driven me crazy the last few days. Anyway, here's something you're not supposed to see.
So the next report that I have is a very small one, and it is Vice President Joe Biden joined Hillary Clinton in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Joe Biden's hometown, for a rally. Less than 300 people showed up to the rally. That's it. Just another rally that has no purpose or excitement or energy or population or young people or old people or willingly volunteering people. It's just paid showbots. Press. They want more press than they want people there. They want the press that's there to be completely controlled and completely vetted before they're able to enter the facility. Just like they do the same thing with the attendees. They have to be sheep. They have to hold up the signs that are correct. So, on that note, I watched an interview between Tim Canova and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, And I thought it was an interesting interview. I'm not a resident of that district in Florida, so the election is irrelevant to me. I do think, however, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, to be completely fair, did say something important. And that was that Tim Canova's energy and excitement is deriving from a retaliation movement against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And I say, you're goddamn right it is. And so, is that right or is it wrong? I want everybody to have a great evening and not to worry at all, because I truly believe that the people within the FBI see the treason that has happened. And I think that the level of treason that has happened extend way beyond Bill and Hillary Clinton. I'm starting to understand it now. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more with the FBI's investigation, with the racketeering criminal case, with the revelations of WikiLeaks, through the war diaries, through the Turkey coup, through Clinton emails, through DNC emails, etc. What we're going to see is Gladio B, a CIA operation to create false flag terrorism in order to give the government the ability to declare states of emergency. I think we're going to start seeing all of the pieces that made this possible. And we're going to realize that the people who have been leading us for the past 30 years have all committed treason on the American people because it benefits their donors directly.
Now, before this video continues, I should mention that it is available somewhat on Dailymotion, which is, I believe, based in England. Maybe that's why it's still up there. Curiously, though, when I tried to download it, the sound was completely gone. So I just went analog and used my little camera and set of Bose computer speakers and managed to, lo and behold, get the sound. So this is publicly available. Why he has disappeared, I am unconvinced that the email was from him. Why he was disappeared from YouTube would be fairly obvious, since Google and Eric Schmid are in the bag for Hillary and have manipulated search results all along for Hillary.
If there is no way to discern the information between what you're sharing and what you're gathering, and how you use that information against people, if there's no transparency involved in that, then how can anybody collect the information in a way that is ethical? And when they do collect the information, how do we know that it's not going to be later abused? Is there a formal process in which we remove the collected information on citizens when it's proved to be irrelevant? Is there a procedure? If the very notions that set up the entities that created the NSA and created the spy agencies that we have don't know the extent of how much the NSA is spying on people, then they also have no clue on whether or not irrelevant information is destroyed, what is done with the irrelevant information, how that irrelevant information is being used for policymaking, and how that information collected goes back into the hands of people who draft bills like the Patriot Act, like the TPP, like NAFTA, etc. Remember, it's committees and lobbyists that write a majority of the bills that get signed in Congress. And if that is true, then the level in order to fix the problem is far greater than we've ever expected. And so, one of the things that I have found quite interesting is the idea that if you ask yourself a simple question, at the end of the day, Does this make a difference to me, to my personal life, to me as an individual? Does it make a difference? And the easiest answer to say is no. But the real answer to say is yes. And the reason why is because a lot of people can view this channel and me rambling and ranting about the Clinton Foundation, about the TPP, about George Soros, about the failed coup in Turkey, about Fethullah Gulen, whatever you want to say. As much as I can complain about those different things and shed light on them and bring new topics of conversation around things that I view as important, I think that the more that we do that and the more effort that we put in, the more that we'll wake people up. Because it really comes down to people are sleeping. People are sleeping. Complacency is what enables this system to exist. And when people realize that the system is rigged and it's been working against you and it's been killing you for the past 30 years, a system that was set up by somebody. I don't know who it was set up by. But at one point, somebody decided that they were going to start controlling the world and they were going to use the governments in order to do it. We've seen that through time and time and time and time again. But the point is, there will be more information coming out soon. There will be more WikiLeaks leaks. There will be more things from Anonymous. There will be more whistleblowers coming out. There will be more journalism that happens. There will be more wars that happen. There will be more of everything that happens. The point is, you have to stay awake for everything at all points of the entire events, from the beginning to the end. And I've had to reiterate this a few times, and I want to say this one more to you guys. And that is that by me supporting Bernie Sanders, I don't support the person Bernie Sanders. Okay, I get it. He's a guy. I get it. What I support is the brutal honesty and the reckless exposing of the truth. And I believe some of it was reckless in a good way, because it derailed this system. And the havoc that derailing a system that is so corrupt and so wound together could be catastrophic to the person who derailed it, or to the people who notice that it's been derailed. But I wanted to pull out a quote because Debbie Wasserman Schultz accidentally told the truth. And I think that when she goes to trial for the election fraud, which I honestly think is going to happen because of the class action lawsuits, because of the other legal investigations into the DNC, into the pay for play, into the corruption, into the bribes, etc. We're going to see she's going to be speaking before a grand jury, and they're going to pull this quote out, and they're going to talk to the people and say, hey, this is actually something relevant. Quote, I was a key part of helping President Obama getting reelected in 2012 and did the work we did to prepare for Hillary Clinton to be our nominee, and then made sure that we could get her elected as president, which is absolutely critical in advancing the issues that are important. End quote. She openly admits that, quote, we did the work necessary to prepare for Hillary Clinton to be our nominee. Debbie Wasserman Schultz says that the DNC did their work to make sure that she's the nominee. She admitted to the election fraud during her debate with Tim Canova. She admitted to it. She says, and again, we're going to pull propaganda out because this is what the DNC does. Quote, we were victims of Russian espionage who stole private emails and our data and gave them to the organization WikiLeaks. The Director of National Intelligence said that it wasn't the Russians. It's probably most likely somebody disgruntled in the FBI who did it. Somebody disgruntled in the NSA who did it. Because a lot of the stuff that we're learning is that the top secret emails that were in her email server were actually from the NSA, which is why Congress doesn't have the authorization to view those emails, because NSA trumps the Congress, because the NSA collects data on Congress. And so if the NSA were to start releasing the data that they are collecting about Congress, that puts the NSA in hot water. So of course it's heavily classified. Of course, members of Congress who are on the House Select Committee cannot see the 22 top secret emails that were not permanently deleted by Clinton's lawyers. They were missed in the purge. This is very intense. It's giving me neck problems. I think I was hit with a Karari dart.
So this is where I tend to go off into conspiracy land, and I apologize. But my concern is genuine for Michael, because it's so explosive what he has to say, that I do believe that the powers that be, that are incredibly powerful, he may have posed a threat to them. Now, I must confess that I'm only publishing small parts of Michael's hour-long video because, quite frankly, what he says in it is so explosive as to be terribly frightening to an individual. Now, if you are of the mindset that Google is censoring information quite a bit, then I would encourage you to download anything you find that is controversial and that may disappear off Google or various platforms, as we're going to see post-Hillary installation, a real attack on the free internet as we once knew it, which is already beginning in earnest. Your most dystopian nightmare scenario is probably not the result of an overactive imagination. Having grown up in a relatively free and prosperous Western nation, one does not take seriously enough things that are not so obvious. The closing down of society that began 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, has accelerated over time and is now at the point where we are facing a highly dystopian, broken future where voices like Michael Trimm's will no longer be heard.
Okay. Conservative group claims Hillary Clinton's foundation took millions from foreign governments. So this is just one more article that is starting to come out, because now we're starting to see the FBI announcing that they have 3 joint investigations into the Clinton Foundation. They have raided the Clinton buildings and offices and headquarters in Arkansas, Washington, D.C., and New York City, in New York. So those 3 locations have been raided by the FBI on collecting information about the Clinton Foundation and about the Clintons themselves. They've opened a joint investigation with New York City Attorney General Preet something, I can't pronounce his last name. That individual was also responsible for prosecuting, I recall, I think Bernie Madoff was included in there, or he was a part of the Bernie Madoff events. But he's also prosecuted bankers and other people involved in corruption.